So checking out Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, once again I'm going to lump these two coins in the same video just because they have a very similar chart and they pretty much move in tandem anyway. I mean, you can see the SHIB and the Doge chart, they're very much indiscernible. They've basically got the exact same chart, and I'll be doing most of the same analysis for both of them. So let's start off with what's going on Dogecoin right now. So on the daily, in my opinion, I think we've recently fired a fake out of these EMA ribbons going to the upside. And the reason why I'm really not convinced that it is a proper breakout is the last couple of times we've seen these, you can see the last two times these are fired long, they've both been fake outs and they've quickly flipped into a short. Normally these longs, they really only trigger because the price moves up in such a rapid way that it causes the short-term moving average to move above the long-term moving average, which then allows it to fire, long for a very brief period of time before it collapses again. And that is kind of what I see we could be setting up for doing now. So once again, we've had this big rally causing the short-term moving average to flip the long-term on Dogecoin. And it is starting to head down now. If we look at the daily momentum indicators for Dogecoin, we're really about to have a bearish flip, which could cause us to, have a very catastrophic landslide to the downside in the short term. Paired with the fact that we've been rejected off the 200-day moving average, I just think Dogecoin needs a little bit more time to really decide where it wants to go. Now, in the macro term, I mean, we've invalidated the 786, so there's not much I can say from there. We're really going to have to work off micro fibs right now. I mean, if we get rid of this, can we draw it to the uptrend? No, it is completely invalidated. The 786 is done. So we're really going to have to run off micro fibs right now. We are setting up for coming down to the 618 fib. So I mean, technically, as long as we hold 1366, then we are still good for Dogecoin. But I do see these momentum indicators calling for a breakdown of the 618. Now, I could be wrong. These momentum indicators could reset like they have before, and it could start to head up. But this is really a cautionous video that if we don't start pumping very soon, like we've done, a few times, I think we've come down, reset it and had a pump. If we don't see that pump in the next day or so, then, unfortunately, these daily squeeze momentum indicator is going to head to the downside for Dogecoin. Now, I am sitting on the sideline for this. If you are curious to know, the only dog coin that I hold currently is Dogelon Mars, and I do separate videos for that, because it does have a slightly different chart than Dogecoin and Shiba, but nonetheless, I'm really waiting for the break above the 200-day for Dogecoin, and the reason why I'm waiting for the break of the 200-day is I believe that a face rip could be initiated to the all-time high whenever we do take out the 200-day. Previously, this has been a massive area of support/resistance, and I think the only thing that's really stopping Dogecoin from having a massive tear is the 200-day. So I'm not buying or longing Dogecoin until we're above 18 cent. And the only reason why I can say with a straight face that I believe Dogecoin and Shiba alike need to hop above the 200-day before we have a face tear is if we look, you can see Shiba did it as well, 29 days from low to all-time high. If we come over to Dogecoin, how many days? I think I've dragged this on for too long. Because on the daily, the uptrend really started here. And you can see, once again, 29 days from the low to the high. So this is why I cover Shiba and Doge in the same context. They both have extremely similar charts. They both have extremely similar technicals. They both need to hop over the 200-day before they have a face tear. And like I said, long-term perspective for Dogecoin is bullish. I think it's going to take out the all-time high at some point, maybe not this year, but coming into the next year. But really, we need to start seeing a reversal ASAP for Dogecoin. If we don't, these EMA ribbons are going to fire bearish. This squeeze daily momentum indicator is going to head to the downside. So in the next day or two, I need to see a strong impulse from 1366. Otherwise, I have to assume that new lows are going to come into effect. If we hop over to the 4-hourly, let's check out what the momentum is doing over here. Hello, is my chart going to load? Alright, it's just taking its sweet time. On the 4-hourly, wow, we really only have, another 4 hours before this is completely reset. Meaning, we've approximately got about 8 hours of hanging around in this region before it resets and then pushes to the downside. So if you're watching this, you know, approximately, I'd say maybe it'd take me an hour or so to get these up. So if you're watching this like 6 to 8 hours after I've uploaded this, and we're not pushing up above 14.5 cent, which is pretty much where these EMA ribbons on the 4-hourly are, then the bearish momentum is going to flip on the 4-hourly, and this is going to carry over into the daily. The daily could very much flip over to the negative, and then Dogecoin could see a landslide. So all in all, I'm really not predicting a move to the downside until we take out, you know, 13.67 cent. But on the flip side, I'm not comfortable calling for much higher price targets on Dogecoin until we take out the 200-day. I'm being really conservative on this, and I really only need to see one thing for me to enter a trade on Dogecoin, and it's a break above the 200-day and then a push up. I'm not worried at all about missing out on the first 30% of this trade, because once we get above the 200-day, we have over a 3x to the all-time high. And as I've highlighted before, you know, it took 29 days for both Dogecoin and Shiba to make their all-time highs. So that's what I'm looking for. Until we take out the 200-day, I'm not bullish. Momentum indicators are calling for us to move to the downside, and it is the same for Shiba. Shiba looks like it's being the leading indicator for Dogecoin right now. It's heading down a little bit harsher than Dogecoin is. We're having a big drop. We have lost, well, 786 is down here, so, you know, I would be predicting for Shiba Inu specifically a move down to the 786. That's a 13% move. And also, daily squeeze mon momentum indicator has started to head to the downside. So Shiba's really being a leading indicator for what's going on Dogecoin right now. Shiba's already taken the plunge on the 4-hour, once again taking the lead. We've already switched bearish. We're starting to head down, and like I said, I like to cover these two coins in tandem because they do move at the same pace, you know, and it looks like Shiba is telling Dogecoin, hey, we need to have a move down to the downside now. I mean, this has been, you know, very frequent. I mean, I think I started recording 5 minutes ago, and we've just taken out the lows 5 minutes ago. If we come over to Dogecoin, you can see Dogecoin is really following what's going on with SHIB. We're starting to push down below the lows. So this is really why I like to cover them together. Now, once again, we're heading down very strongly. I have to predict that a 13.5% move to the downside is on the table for Shiba. I imagine that will carry Dogecoin down a similar amount, but we really need to see these momentum indicators start to switch to the upside. And it's the same for Shiba Inu. I'm happy to miss out on the first 37% of the trade until we hop over the 200-day moving average, because previously, well, we haven't had a break above the 200-day for SHIB. It's slightly newer, or much newer than Dogecoin, but nonetheless, like I said, Dogecoin and Shiba move in tandem. Once Dogecoin takes out the 200-day, I think Shiba Inu would soon follow with a huge rally. So what am I really waiting for these? For me, I think Dogecoin needs to break 18 cent. Once we have a daily close above 18 cent and a push up, that's where I'd be looking to enter my trade. I'd be looking to soon follow on that trade for Shiba once Shiba takes out 315. Now these price targets of the 200-day, they're going to change day to day, because obviously 200-day is the 200-day moving average. Every single day it, you know, carries on a new data point. So by tomorrow, this will probably taper down a bit. We are taking in price targets from, I mean, 200 days ago. So, I mean, actually, it might start to continue to head up before it heads down. So, I mean, we've got data points all the way down here. So in the short term, actually, this is going to taper up because we're still taking in price targets. You know, not only forget about these lows, but, you know, these highs are really still in play for the next 40 days or so. So we really have a while until we're going to start tapering down the 200-day. This is going to keep on heading up, in my opinion. It's not even my opinion, it is fact. I mean, we're taking in data points from, you know, all the way up here. This is a 2x. So what I'm looking for Shiba and Dogecoin, I think they're both having a quick flush to the downside before they do switch bullish, and this is very much supported by what Bitcoin is doing right now. Now, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, for the past week, I have been calling for Bitcoin to move down to between 40 to 39,500, and we're doing that right now. We're coming down. So I'm looking for Bitcoin to have a huge bottom before I personally feel very, very confident in entering a trade for both Dogecoin and Shiba. And once again, once this 200-day gets taken out for the both of them, that's your moon line. For Shiba, it's 315. For Dogecoin, I believe it was approximately 18 cents. So keep your eyes on those levels. Until we do break above those levels, I don't think we can be confident that we have bottom for both Dogecoin and Shiba. And looking at them in the macro market structure, we're still in a huge downtrend. We're below the 786 for Dogecoin. And I think that Shiba is going to be gravitated towards this 786 Fibonacci. So that is really all I'm seeing right now. I do think a quick flush out for the dog coins is on the table before we do have a reversal. I think that's not only supported in both the Dogecoin and Shiba charts, but I think it's supported with what Bitcoin's doing right now, heading down to 39.5. So I'm expecting a quick flush out. Then I imagine these coins are going to bottom. I imagine they're going to find their bottoms in the next week. Like, this is really only a short-term bearish video on the two. I am, somewhat fans of the two of them. I do think they are going to head up over time. I think they're pretty much always going to be here in the macro term. So I am just waiting for that rally to start to take place, because like I highlighted, 21 days for Shiba Inu to have a face tear, 29 days for Dogecoin to have a face tear. I'm not worried about catching the exact bottom. Like, if you were down here, I'm not going to be worried about catching the bottom. If it starts rallying and it shows me that we are about to enter that face tear, I'll enter during that rally, because I'm convinced that we would continue to head up and tear faces in that meantime. So that's all I see for Dogecoin. That's all I see for Shiba Inu. Quick flush out, in my opinion, is on the table. Once that has happened, I think we can be a lot more confident that the market has bottomed. That's all I see for Doge. That's all I see for Shib. Best of luck if you're in either of them. Once again, none of this is financial advice, just my opinion on the market. And you've always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.